Hello, 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 and welcome to another one line of code. It's dark in here. What happened? There was a scene earlier. Okay, there's our scene. Oh, I hate the moving scenes. We're gonna go straight to the desktop. Hi, welcome in, Black Void. Welcome in. So hello to Stony Eagle, hello to Fresh Meat 911, just here for a quick hello, then I have to lurk. More birthday stuff to do for father-in-law. Well, happy birthday to your father-in-law, unless it's your birthday and you're still doing stuff for your father-in-law because it's your birthday. Anyway, I'm kidding. I know what you're probably saying, maybe. But wanted to drop in and say happy Friday and heyo. Beckers. I'm not good at saying that. It always sounds awkward. I hope all is well. All is well. Thank you so much for your lurk. And thank you, Turgis, for your lurk. Thank you so much for being here. Did the archery work for you, Stony Eagle? It should. Or not. It shouldn't have worked because I didn't actually start my bot. Let me get the bot working. My bad. Sorry about that. Wasted a whole point and I didn't refill my water bottle. We'll do that later when I feel even more awkward because of where we're going today. I demand a full refund of my 1 point. I'm sure you've already made more than enough points back, but I will do my best to try to refund it. Let's see, activity feed. Wait, don't do archery yet. I'm still working on launching the butt. No, you're wasting points. How dare. Okay, but come on. Connect. I feel so bad, man. And back to the void. Please don't put me under pressure. I don't want to be under pressure. I already got overwhelmed on Big Gamey stream because of all the sounds, and then now I'm still feeling a little bit anxious because, well, I mean, it started because I was feeling anxious because of the topic that I want to cover today. Because today, as you know, is Friday, and on Friday on our channel, we have Community Day. And what I was wanting to do today is because I had so much opportunity in the past week to discuss this topic from my point of view, is I wanted to hear from you. So I'm going to wait for a little bit as more people trickle in before getting the conversation started. So feel free to bring up any other topics that you want for now. But at around the top of the hour, I will start the conversation. I will guide the conversation. Unless, of course, someone does happen to come into chat and want to start conversing, because I don't want the conversation to go too far into one direction. Because, we're all super fans. Don't want it to go too far down a path that we can't turn around and start on this topic, because I really, really, really want to discuss this with you. I will indicate multiple times that I'm not here to give my opinions on it unless you explicitly ask for my opinions on the topic when we get to it. But I will not volunteer my own opinions. I want to hear yours. I believe you. Are you a believer and not a One Direction? Oh, Lent, all of your amazing looking cat photos. I'm going to melt. I'm going to melt. No. Cancel. Okay. For now, what I was thinking we would do until conversations start happening is we'll apply our current progress. Or first of all, we're going to figure out where exactly we are with the open source version of the data import utility. Then we will pull over the changes that I have recently made to the data import utility, which is our open source project. Oh, and I definitely need this disclaimer on today. So yeah, again, I'm going to give the disclaimer now that I have written in the YouTube description. I didn't know where to put it for Twitch for this particular video in particular. So I'm just going to verbally say it, which I have written down because I'm going to forget otherwise. Okay. So I am using PowerToys. I am. What did I do that didn't make it look like I wasn't using PowerToys? Was it because I was manually dragging the window in to fit? But here's the disclaimer. Oh, a snap region? I mean, I change the size of this window so often, and I don't always bring it in at the same size nor expect it to be the same size, but it's not a bad idea. Why did that go from 3 to 6 when I opened it so that I could clear the badges? Oh my gosh. You're not supposed to increase, you're supposed to go away. Yeah, let me write that down as a thing to do. Make a snap region using PowerToys for the dev window. Screen. Okay, I will take it under advisement, and I've written it down as a to-do. So, the disclaimer. So I already feel awkward about this, and I'm doing my best to be more confident. I just want to have a discussion. That's it. But disclaimer is, discussions will cover the evolving role of AI in software development. These discussions may bring up sensitive topics for some viewers. Please use your own judgment and take care of yourself before watching or participating in Community Day. In this case, it's definitely going to be the latter. While you're live, while you're here. But those of you in the future, same goes to you. My plan is to, I don't know how it's going to go. We still play it by ear because it is Community Day, but I plan on starting discussions surrounding AI in our industry specifically. Not just AI in general, there are plenty of opinions to be voiced and heard surrounding AI, the use of AI in general, the way that it was trained, etc. But I want to specifically focus for our community on AI in software development and software engineering. But we'll get to there. Again, just providing plenty of, I don't even want to call it a warning because warning just makes it sound so negative. I'm providing ample opportunity for you to make the decision as to whether or not you want to participate and or even just lurk and watch a conversation surrounding this topic. That said, I'm pretty sure the most recent thing we were working on was setting up NuGet. We, 4 streams ago now? Fulis Novel took us through creating a cake script that helped us to essentially make our pipeline. Let's just close all. That's bad. There we go. To make a pipeline that we could debug locally. And Stony Eagle's ready to get started on this topic. All right, I'm going to I'm going to keep track of your message so that when we are ready to start talking about it. Okay. Captured. So this here is a cake script that Snubble helped us put together. We used one of his as an example and we just modified it for the data import utility. So we have things like this that we actually don't need. I'm getting rid of it now. But yeah, so with this, it's essentially the pipeline that's going to run in GitHub Actions that we can run locally. And here it is. If we did .NET tool .NET cake, and we target it, it's up here. Dang it. .NET cake, it's not .NET tool. .NET cake, and we targeted a specific step. So for example, let's say we went all the way to test. We can do target 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 test, and we also have a switch for cleaning the project. So we have to have an argument rebuild, which would be in the form of -- rebuild if we want this to actually clean before doing the build. And so we run it locally. We can see if there's any errors in our pipeline as it goes along. And this way we know, well, we have a fairly good idea that when we run this cake script in our GitHub action, it's going to be successful. I think the other thing that we did was we updated the directory.build.props so that we can apply a version based on, actually, I don't even think this version matters anymore because of the cake script, but we would apply the version based on the tag on the branch that the action will be run on. And finally, we also updated the output location of the NuGet package to make it easier for us to publish and release. Yeah. So I think we're pretty close to done with this. Everything did build, everything succeeded. It did what we were expecting it to do. I don't know what these possible no reference exceptions are. I could have sworn that we got rid of every single one of them. What's going on? Field descriptors is possibly null. No, it's, oh, duh. Okay. So here's the thing that doesn't happen if this project was a .NET 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. I'm able to use an attribute that says maybe null when false, not null when true. So if this thing returns true, then we know that the out variable will not be false, or will not be null. Unfortunately, this attribute does not exist in .NET Standard 2.0 that I know of. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of research real quick for the not null when, maybe null when, member not null, all of those attributes that I like to use so that we can do type safe coding without needing to do a million billion null reference checks everywhere. So not null when in .NET Standard, and I'm using .NET Standard 2.0 for a couple reasons. The main one that I can remember is that .NET Standard 2.1 it has a lower compatibility and quite a few more issues. Yeah, I can't really remember what that means though. So is there a NuGet package to support not null when in .NET? There is probably a NuGet package which adds these for .NET Standard 2.0, but you can also just declare an internal attribute with the appropriate namespace, name, and shape, and the compiler will pick it up. Huh? Huh? Okay, so just to rephrase it, one just copies. Yeah, like magic. What? One just copies. Oh, wow. This file to his or her analyzer project, and the nullable attributes are supported. There's a few things that I don't understand about this phrase. So what exactly is an analyzer project? So I need to understand that first. I guess really that's the only thing that I need to know. What exactly is an analyzer project? So I think maybe that would be a Roslyn component, maybe? Oh my goodness, no. What? What? Okay. Still in a branch somewhere. It's not currently in main. Hello, Napalm. That was something else. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick assumption just to see if this works. Helper libraries. And in fact, what I'm going to do first is create this file in the source generator. Oh my gosh, what did I just push? Cookie cutter. Just F2. Compiler analyzers. And the name of this is nullable attributes. Okay, so if not .NET Core app, duplicate attribute usage. Specifies the usage of another attribute class. Duplicate attribute usage attribute. Are you telling me that I have two definitions for this? This is not a very descriptive solution, is it? Just to rephrase it, one just copies this and the nullable attributes are supported. Incorrect. I just copied that and the nullable attributes are not supported. In fact, I'm just getting errors. Ah, time is just flying by, isn't it? Is it in the right namespace? You know, does it need to be in my own namespace? Do you think? That's a good thought. Okay. Then we can just use system. Aha, good thought. Thank you. It was a good guess then. I like it. Well, let's try it out then. So we have the nullable attribute now. This project is set up as a Roslyn, where is it? Roslyn component. I'm assuming these two help us to yeah, these are the two things plus how to run this project are the things that help it to be an analyzer project. But again, I really don't know what it means to be an analyzer project. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to research what exactly that means. But let's find out. Let's just see if we can use data reader service. Where is this? Oh, here. Oh, it's right there. It's the thing that's selected currently. Oh my gosh. All right. Uncomment U. We have maybe null when is inaccessible due to its protection level, which means that we can because right now it's internal sealed. So what I was thinking of doing was creating an assembly info.cs. Is that the file? And internals visible to data import utility test, data import utility, components, and I think that should be it. Okay, what do you say now? Inaccessible due to protection. Yeah, you just copy the file over, that's all. Copy the contents of the file over. You don't need to do anything else. Rude. We can figure this out though. I'm sure we can. It doesn't really make sense to make this public. But if you move these to your namespace, then you have access to internal, right? I thought so. Maybe it's the .source generator namespace then. Let's just do data import utility, period. No. And if I built... Okay, so then my next thought was, let's find out what an analyzer project is and see if we can just create a separate analyzer project. And we have a few ways that we can do this. One would be to, you know, smartly ask the internet and figure out that way. And the other that is probably harder and is going to fail is by looking at maybe the type of project that this internal utilities is. Oops. So let's go the hard route first. Cheat and make them public, yeah. But I mean, I do really intend on this to be an open source project that is used and published to NuGet. So I kind of want to do it the right way. Only kind of, though. Not fully. Jeez. Okay, Microsoft Code Analysis CS Proj. Allow unsafe blocks, define contents, code analysis rule set. So this is something that I don't have. Define constants, compiler core. Wait, why does this say that code analysis targets net2.0? Oh, because in main, this doesn't exist anymore. This was taken away in the main branch. Me too. We're all still learning. Yeah. Okay. So .NET C#, what is an analyzer project? It is a project powered by the Roslyn compiler platform that analyzes C# or Visual Basic Code for style, quality, maintainability, design, and other issues, providing feedback and suggestions for improvement while you're typing. How do I create an analyzer project? We'll look at some of these links. I'm more inclined to look at the actual search results than to use links from there. Again, possibly because I'm stalling. Oh. Starting in Net5, these analyzers are included with the .NET SDK. You don't need to install them separately. If your project targets Net5 or later, code analysis is enabled by default. You could use an on-topic tool. I don't know what that is either. Did you read that somewhere? Oh, Ask AI, which is going to be our topic today. So in about 3 minutes, we'll get into the topic. Today, unlike other days, I am kind of looking at viewer count because I really want to hear from you. And it's kind of a low viewership day. So, but hopefully that means that those of you that wouldn't normally talk will feel more free to voice your opinions. Um, Smaller groups usually allow for deeper discussions, for more people to be heard within the group than larger groups where only a small percentage of people are heard or have the opportunity to voice their thoughts. So we will start soon. Analysis level, code style analysis. Yeah, what I really, really would like is for someone to have already created a tutorial for adding an analyzer project that has this not null attribute. Like the feeling that I get from responses like this are, if you can't understand it from this, then you probably shouldn't be using it. And it's like, that's, but that's just me projecting that. I could be completely wrong. And it was just, that really is what they thought responded to that. Wait, what is this statement? So this is not an official .NET resource, but this quote comes from an official .NET resource. Note that C# 8 is not, oh, C# 8, not .NET 8. Okay, C# 8 is not meant for older targets such as .NET Core 2.x or whatever. Okay, fine. I always have to be in another stream when you go live. Okay, I don't know what that means, but thank you for being here now and active. It's kind of an interesting day to do it because, oh, you mod. Yes, cool. Well, definitely don't let me keep you from modding. I'm sure you can handle your own workload management, so I won't tell you what to do or how to manage your attention. Okay, okay. Let's take a pause on this analyzer tool thing so that we can do this intro. Napalm is saying, I've been looking into modular monoliths today. I think I like this approach better than microservicing all the things. Yeah, and I think someone called the way that I code, the way that I structure my projects, a modular monolith as well. I like it too, also, as well as, along with. Do I have something in my clipboard? I do. Right, the code analysis rules rule set. Analysis level 8. Nothing? Okay, just checking. I'd like to participate in the discussion, so I'm staying a bit longer. So then let's get started. So I have a couple notes that I remember, the things that I wanted to say to preface this without hopefully being too rote or rehearsed. But as I mentioned earlier, while I was attempting to assist Big Gamey, I kind of got overwhelmed and then had a panic attack and still haven't fully recovered. And then this topic itself, it gives me a lot of anxiety just because of my personal feelings about how I am viewed for having the views that I have on the topic. But like you heard, if you were here on Monday and Wednesday, I started talking about my experience with Claude lately. I saw a video on YouTube where someone was like, you can stretch Claude to the limits. You can test it by having it make, for example, a 3D application in the browser. And he showed how how Claude generated that 3D application, the types of prompts he gave it. And I was like, so I've been using ChatGPT, Gemini, Bing for a while just to ask it questions, and it gives me responses and sometimes code responses that are usable-ish or at least dismissible as that's not the way that I want to go, but then I get inspiration from it. But I haven't had something that actually does do real code generation that can make a project. So I was like, I'm going to give this a try. It seems cool. So I went to Claude and I was like, I mean, I'm going to be worried regardless, but I'm still going to be confident in my own feelings towards this. But again, I would like to know your information, your feelings on the topic. Before that, Tech Workbench says monolith isn't bad if you have modules that aren't coupled. That way you can break some parts of it later for scalability if necessary to Napalm. And I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. I don't know what that does anyway. So anyway, I was testing it out and I have been wanting to make this synthwave type of scene for the creative stream. And it would be pretty much like right now, if you mouse over the stream, if you're watching on Twitch, you'll see that there is a red dot. And that's because I have the heat map extension. I think it's called heat map. Maybe it's just called heat. Anyway, I have the heat extension on this channel on Twitch, which means that if you click on the screen and my bot was listening to the right things, I don't know what really to call it. It's listening for the right things. I'll be able to detect here is a mouse click from this user at this position on the screen, detect where that position is, send it to the little interactive thing that I want to have, and say a click was made here by this user, perform some kind of action. So I was going back into Unity. I had played with it before, but I wasn't very good at it and still haven't gotten very good at it. But I was following tutorials, trying to learn how can I build up this simple scene. And I took that scene with me over to Clay and was like, here's a GitHub repo. And Clay's like, oh, let me just clone that. Let me show you how that's done. And then did it in like 5 minutes. The part of it that I was wanting to do next that I was struggling with. And I was like, that is so easy. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. So I learned how to do that. Then there was another thing where I'm like, I want it to be a synthwave scene. So, you know, synthwave scenes usually have grids and motion, like a car driving at sunset, and you know the thing, and rate limit people's clicks. Yeah, absolutely. So there's going to be a debounce anyway on all of the interactivity for this thing when we get to it. So I was like, you know what? I haven't gotten very far in that project. I'm not committed to it even being a thing. So I'm going to test Claude with it. So I said, hey, Claude, come up with a project. And I showed it on Monday. Come up with a project that is runnable in the browser, has interactions, and can be used on a stream as a browser source. So I am going to open that up. Synthwave scene, Claude v2, source, open with. Oh, I need to do it this way. Promise this intro won't be too long. I'm not doing a good job of keeping it brief. Open folder. So what it did is that it generated an entire project, like literally an entire project, in a language that I didn't know. So I learned how to create a Vite project using command line, how to use npm to install some node modules, how to configure it, and I learned a bit about JavaScript. And I was like, man, this is actually pretty nice. This is kind of easy. I'll catch up on chat after I finish my intro story, because I'm going to turn it over to you afterwards. If we do npm run dev, we should be able to see this. Running in the browser. And so this is what it generated after some back and forth. And I'm blown away. Like, it has so many of the elements that I wanted that took me forever to, like, weeks to get to this point. And it did it in a few sessions, but pretty much the course of one day. So here's an interaction that can be done where you click the left arrow. So if you're looking at the screen, you click the left arrow on the screen, it'll register your mouse click, and then it'll queue up a turn. It's still not perfect, obviously. There's a lot to do. Then there are going to be stream interactions, which are things like speed boost, make the car go faster, do some graphics, change the vehicle. So like here, we're going to a DeLorean, and it kind of does this transformer spin thing and turns the car into a DeLorean, Ferrari. This VHS effect kind of thing with the bands going across and the vignette on there. This is more like a whatever those are called, projector. I can control the camera by using right click, and I can look wherever I want to look and then reset the camera back where it was. I can turn the mountains on and off. I can turn the city on and off. I can change the time of day using a slider like this. Awesome. Thank you so very much for the follow. So point is, I tested it and I was like, I'm really impressed by this. And I thought I was going to leave it there. And what ended up happening is like, okay, I really want to get the thing that I'm stuck on currently. So in our project, in my work product, I should say, and this is what started making me feel weird. This is why I'm starting to stutter now, is because I have anxiety over this. I have perceptions of what other people think of me because I did this. The current effort that we're on the data import utility, the work product version, is the conditional, what are you called? Wait, how did this open up the open source version? Anyway, it's conditional operations, where I want the user to be able to specify if this field evaluates to this, then produce that. I'm not going to be catch up on chat. Whoa. What was that? That was a very weird sound. Anyway, point is that I will promise I'll catch up on chat after I'm done saying this. Short intro story is what I have written in my notes. Short intro story. That's not what's happening. I'm taking too long on it. So point is that I started using Claude to evaluate my current import utility code and help me to implement the conditional, actually, yeah, it would be nice if I had it open. Help me to implement the conditional transformation rules. And so I did. Man, so many good comments already coming in. I will pass it over to you very, very shortly. So this is where it got me to. And again, this was one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to abuse this thing. I don't want it to do all the work for me. I still want to be the developer and do this myself. Because I love writing code. So I don't want to hand over all of the responsibility for generating code to an automated system, even though my company is called Automated Realms, which is part of what I'm trying to do, make everything automated that you don't want to do. So here is where it got me. projects, lab data import. Nope. Try again. Sample. And drag a droppy. And edit. Okay, so this conditional operation here, I showed this on Monday or Wednesday or something, was not even filled out. The UI for it wasn't filled in. Most of the logic was not filled in. And I asked Claude to do that part of it. And we got really far. This isn't even the most latest, because the most latest, I have a preview of each step of this process where we get the left value and we see what that outputs. We get the right value, we see what this outputs for this individual step. And we have so many different steps in this pipeline. And it is already up to date. So then I took another step and I'm like, you know what? I actually don't like this approach anyway. If I'm planning on open sourcing this, making it extensible, I haven't done a very good job of organizing the project in such a way, and we ran into this issue, where I could, in my application that I'm using this library in, create a new mapping rule or transformation operation, because we're using source generators, and those source generators are generating enums, and this application depends on enums in order to populate these dropdowns, get the descriptions, create instances, all of that stuff. So I'm like, come up with a strategy for making that happen. And I'm like, don't worry about backwards compatibility, just use as much of my code as you can and come up with an idea. Aerobius repos local. This one. Docs. Okay, and this, among other things, is one of the things that it came up with. So it gave me a markdown file with the specification for what this should do, how it should work. We had a discussion like a project planning meeting, and it lasted all of 3 or 4 chat conversations, and we perfected it. Then I said, okay, let's start implementing it. And so it went a long way. So the easiest way for me to represent where we are currently, because I am still doing this, is to show the project structure. Oops. That was an accident. And so this is the project structure that I came up with. And I'm like, it kind of matches what I currently had, except no source generator. Instead, it's using all of these other things that I had never heard of, or that I have heard of but didn't know how to implement, like plugins, like Fluent API for being able to do the conditional operations. Instead of having it be objects, it is a rule set that is do this dot when dot, and then you kind of like a lambda expression. So point is, we did that. As I'm doing it, the whole time I'm feeling like I'm being judged by myself or this invisible audience that is watching me for using AI to do this. That made me tell you guys about it on Monday and Wednesday, or it encouraged me to tell you guys about this entire thing on Monday and Wednesday. So then I was evaluating, why do I feel so much shame behind this? Why do I feel so weird about using AI to do full-on implementations or re-implementations or redesigns or UI stuff? TBD Gamer said he had a lot to say about it. And I wish he could be here for this stream today, but he had stuff to do. I will talk with him about it eventually, I hope. I want to hear his thoughts on it. But the point is that now I want to ask all of you, what are your personal feelings and thoughts. You're allowed to express your opinions. There's this thingy here. I only ask that you're mindful and not you don't attack other people's ideas or judge them harshly, at least not out loud, for their opinions and thoughts around this. I hope to step back from telling you any. I do too, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to step back and not give my opinions from this point on about the usage of it, unless specifically asked, directly asked during the conversation. But I want to hear what you think about AI in the industry. I'm going to have some directional questions that we will follow. I'm going to have, I just want to hear from you. What is the general consensus about AI, and specifically in the software development industry, in software engineering? There is a lot to be said, and I'm not dismissing it. There's a lot to be said about the ethics behind how AI is trained, the ethics behind copyright law and accreditation, giving credit to the source of certain code and stuff like that. We can talk about those if they come up as secondary to the core topic, which is using AI for software development, using AI for software architecture. Let's try to focus on that. We can have another discussion later about the ethics of AI in general. But for now, I would hope that we can just stay focused on AI in software engineering. Okay, that said, I'm going to read through chat and then we'll get this started. Yeah. Okay, so the last place that I left off was Tech Workbench telling Napalm about monoliths. And Napalm responded, I think that's probably why I have made limited progress on pet projects. I try to build them as microservices and it's immensely overkill. I got bogged down in the details and burnt out since I am doing these things at work all day, and the project goes to the stack of things never to see the light of day again. True. Stony Eagle said just before that I was allowed to use sentence enhancers, right? AI really messes up sometimes. It sure does. Core is like, rate limit people's clicks for the stream interaction thing. Absolutely will need to consider and make sure that I do. Then TechWork responded to Napalm saying monolith is a good start, at least for the first iteration of your business. Later you can refactor. True. But it's not always the case that you have the time to go back and refactor, just so you know. I manage 10 applications or so, and right now I am struggling to make all of the changes to the applications that I want to make, especially the ones to standardize the identity, which is where we're going next, the authorization and authentication system. Thank you so much for that follow, BNBit. I usually don't say the names. I don't know why I did. But thank you so much for the follow. Feel free to join in the conversation. I also will have the voice channel open once I catch up in chat. If you want to voice your opinions using your lovely voice. But again, I do want to hear from as many people as I can, so I don't want just one person to take over the floor. But I know that typing is also a hard thing to do or to use to express your opinions. So I want to take the time to allow you to write out your thoughts, and I will read through them. I will skip the automated realms responses though. So then Stone Eagle said, but AI had helped me a ton getting my C# rewrite working to parity with my old Node.js code, and I rewrote it in 1 year with no C# knowledge. Yeah. So those are the types of stories that I want to hear, and then how you felt, especially. So if you want to elaborate on that, Stony Eagle, if you have the opportunity or the availability to, let us know what types of things you were feeling or thinking while using AI to do that task. In retrospect, how do you feel about it? And do you think that this is something that should be more widely accepted? Do you think it's something that shouldn't exist? That's the kind of stuff that I want to hear. Napalm was responding to Tech Workbench saying, oh, for sure. It isn't the only factor by a long shot. I'm getting older and more tired. Duka says, I'm just tired, but my kids call me old. Hello, just tired. Fill in the blank. It's a lion. Oh, wait, it's a car. I did write down lion is one of the vehicles, though. Dukasoft, I won't forget. I promise. If I even get that project off the floor. Is that even a phrase? Can I use that phrase? Stony Eagle says, poor Duka. Thanks for the SO. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Duka. Automated Realms tell us a story about Stony Eagle. Automated Realms did. Juan Von says, that looks fun. Think you're learning every day. Yeah, so again, Juan Von, that was completely generated by Claude during a conversation. And one thing that I do remember, by the way, is even before AI was coming out, we had conversations surrounding, you know, it would be cool if in the future you could just have a system that you spoke to and it would generate the application while talking with you that you have in mind. And now here we are. And then Dukasoft says, but was it really the end? And then it continued and said, for now. Tech Workbench says, oh, thank you so much for the follow. Tech Workbench said, the problem with AI for coding is similar. Okay, so here is one of our first full, I don't know, topics that we can discuss. At least I'm assuming it's going to be. The problem with AI for coding is similar getting into a debate with a person that has a vast amount of basic knowledge and a fast talker. Oh yeah. You can get overwhelmed fast as you don't follow every idea. True. AI writes lots of code, though it is based on any developer that commits to public repos. You got to know what to look for and read the code with the patch of codes LLMs produce. So this is a really good topic. I do want to dive further into that and ask questions about it. So keep that one in mind. I'm going to continue reading chat until I catch up. That was fun. Dukesoft saved it. Awesome. Snubble is here, says yellow. Tech Workbench says SQLite or config file, similar to Link. Neither. It's using some weird pattern that I've heard of, but again, I wouldn't recognize. Actually, you know what? Just to clarify what that was definitely in this document. Context awareness, type safety, fluent interface, registry pattern for registering things like the data readers. You can, when you use this library, register your own data reader, register your own plugins for things like different transformation types, mapping rules, etc. The builder pattern is the one that allows for the fluent configuration of complex objects. So I have a transformation type that is called a conditional transformation that lets the user of the UI of the application string together complex if then else statements. And the way that we build it in code is by having this builder for that conditional pattern, so that they choose a different field, we update the name of the field. They choose a different conditional, we update the conditional. They choose a different operand, we update how the operand is computed or evaluated. The strategy pattern, the context object pattern, and the pipeline pattern. So all of these things I had heard of, I hadn't purposefully added myself, but I'm seeing what is hopefully a good representation of how those are implemented, and maybe I'll choose to do them more often in my own code that I write myself. Question is, yeah, we'll get to that. So not a big deal. Pretty soon, I bet AI will come as part of IDE by default. It kind of is. I consider it a tool that helps codes faster. That's all. That's another great conversation. So I will track this one too, because that is absolutely something that I want to talk about, or I would like to hear from you about. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, I do. Gosh, you know what I mean. I don't want to give you my opinions on it because I already gave you a whole bunch of my opinions on Monday and Tuesday, and while I was talking through what Claude and I did. I say Claude and I now. That's right, we're friends. Snubble says, I got nothing to say about AI. I am Bizarro TBD Gamer. Bizarro TBD Gamer? What do you mean by that? Then Tech Workbench says, here is how I think about this. Good, 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 good. So let me capture this for your line of conversation. Okay, here's how I think about this. You do your think the way you want. Oh, you do your thing the way you want, and chat will help and poke fun. It doesn't matter. Oh, this isn't about using AI. This is just about how to approach this. It doesn't matter much what people think. The most important that you are learning and using tools to help you, AI or any other tools. The thing is that my purpose for streaming is to connect with other developers, get your thoughts, get your opinions, and that's why I have community days, because I am a solo developer. I've been a solo developer. I'm also highly antisocial when it comes to meeting up in person, or phone calls, or even one-on, like I preferred one-on-one chats, but now it's like I prefer this type of setting, one where I kind of am, and this is going to sound terrible, I'm kind of in control of the topic and the rules that are allowed, and I feel more confident about discussing things here. Because I want to create a safe space for you to voice your opinions, and I want to hold that same type of space for myself. So it kind of does matter to me what other people think, because if I'm violating your free will, if I'm violating your ability to feel like you can have opinions, then I'm not doing something that I want to do. Cool. Okay, so I can mark that one as readed. I will always think humans should be part of the loop. Okay, that is another topic that is really good to talk about. Thank you, Sigma. Nothing is private on the internet. That's adjacent topic. It would be good to discuss that more in depth later, because this goes into the whole getting credit for work that you're doing, and all of that stuff. Napalm says, sorry, it sounded like I called you. Hey, Napalm. I kind of view it as smarter iteration of search. Yes. If you are, I'm not expressing my opinions. Why am I saying when I agree to things? Anyway, if you are taking results blindly, you're kind of missing the message. I think you need to understand what the code coming out of there is doing and validate it well. The AI isn't going to figure out all your edge cases. Okay, good statement. Copied. Oh, right. And then early on, Stony Eagle said, Copilot is great as a supportive tool, but all of my attempts of letting AI do stuff for me on its own have failed epically. So that is another thing. I'm organizing these so that we can go through them, and I can follow up with you. Stone Eagle says, I understand your feeling. You have worked hard to learn every line of code you have written, and now you just let the computer generate the code for you. It kind of makes all your effort void in some form. So again, I won't give my opinion on that statement. I do have one, unless you, of course, explicitly ask, which I'm not trying to get you to. I want to know more from you about it. Tech Workbench says, the main concern with AI is intellectual property. Yeah, so these are the things that I don't want to discuss today. They are important to keep in mind and to discuss. So we can do that at a later time. So the AI, the intellectual property, the giving attribution, the, yeah, who owns the product that is generated by AI. Dukesoft says, AI, Captain. Snubble says, nice. Have time to go back and refactor? That never happened. Exactly. And then I said something about the spam and stuff, and Napalm's like, so quiet down, Dukesoft. Do what you do, Dukesoft. You're amazing. I really appreciate you being here. Stone Eagle says, I love that I was capable of doing this rewrite with the help of AI. All right, so this is along the lines of the problem with AI. Is that this one? Wait, who said this one? Dang it. Select this. That was Stony Eagle that said this. AI helped me a ton. Where is that? I thought that I copied this one down. Okay, so Stony Eagle's comment earlier was AI helped a ton when I was rewriting a Node module or a Node.js project to C#. So we're getting some more back on that topic. I understand your feeling. Dang it, down here. Okay. I love that I was capable of doing this rewrite with the help of AI, and I did learn a lot from it. Sometimes Copilot is really scary when it starts to show you the code, what's in your head, or something. Oh yeah, the code that's in your head, or something you just talked about making in a Discord call. And then you start typing and suddenly you get the code suggestion for it. I love that. But my honest opinion about AI is that we lose the capabilities of writing good code and get into a cycle of deterioration. We need to talk about that more. So if you can, if you have any responses to this specific thing, please write them now. The topic of what happens to developers or what is going to happen to developers if AI becomes more widely used. And this kind of goes into there. So Stony Eagle is saying, my honest opinion about AI is that we lose the capabilities of writing good code and get into a cycle of deterioration. AI needs good programmers to keep the AI in check and make it output good code from the beginning. And then he continued to say, it had been trained on code written 100% by humans and validated to work. All that needs to be done was filter out the really good code. Filter out the really good code and keep the bad code. Filter out the really bad code, but it was really good. But we're feeding it AI generated. Oh, okay. So I think what he's saying here is if in the beginning, it had been trained on code written 100% by humans and validated to work, all that would need to be done was to filter out really bad code. But instead what we got was AI that's trained on code generated by AI. And I don't think that is a sustainable path forward. Yeah. Or it actually was being trained on code only written by humans in the beginning is what you're saying. Okay. It had been, we're here now. I'm proud of what I have accomplished, but I'm aware that I don't know enough of what I should know, and that does scare me. I will not force words out of your voice box, don't worry. Please voice your concerns. Voice your opinions. I will read them, hopefully in the correct way and not misrepresent what you're saying. So Stone Eagle says, in the beginning, it had been trained on code written 100% by humans. Yeah, okay, so I did get that after a while. You had to fix me on it though. Snubble says, perhaps a concern with AI is that it might block junior devs from entering the workforce. Okay. So that comment there, Snubble, I would like, if you can, to expand on. So I'm just wondering if this is a real concern. If you evaluate this statement that you made, perhaps a concern with AI is that it might block junior devs from entering the workforce. How do you feel about it? Do you agree with that? If not, what are your other thoughts about it? So you can tell me all about what you think other people have said or what it sounds like in the industry, but I want to know about what do you feel about it. TechWork says, here's a take on the past. Oh, here's a take on AI. So this is separate from the other conversation. So let's put this here. In the past, I worked for a project based on platform API where the team started to write a custom layer on top of the platform API to make it fast to put out code. At the time, we had no AI, and I noticed my capability to understand and use the actual tool to lower quite a lot. Interesting. AI would be a tool that helps you write code, but gets you into the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. Interesting. Okay, so from that statement, I think TechWork Bench was indicating, and it was related to the Stony Eagle thing, was indicating that as we continue using or relying on AI, new developers to the industry, existing developers that just don't want to bother with other parts of it that they don't like, is usually what I hear. I don't want to deal with this thing. I'd like to offload it to AI. Is that the developers are going to lose the actual software development skills themselves. And we're going to have a population with less developers that know how to write code and only know how to interact with AI, is kind of what I'm hearing. So let me know if that is correct or if you have more to add to that. And then anyone, like, this is one of those things where it's like, I don't really do the whole YouTube algorithm thing, but I really, really want to hear your opinions. If you're watching this recorded in the future, I would love to see comments from you about what your opinions are. Again, just pretty please be mindful. Pretty please don't like attack people for having opinions. Yeah, just voice your opinion. So thank you for that comment, TechWork. I really liked it. To elaborate more, Stony Eagle is saying one of the major issues is that it can only output what it has been trained on. A good example of that is the full wine glass and a clock showing any time of day. It is capable of doing so. But are you sure that AI will stay that way, for one? So this is where I'm going to slightly challenge you. And hopefully, again, I am not what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not stating any opinion or trying to lead you anyway. But is it possible that generative AI has the initial training set, but will eventually be learning over time? Do you think that that is where the technology is heading, where the generative AI is improving based on feedback and conversations? Because it kind of seems like that's what all of the disclaimers and everything are when you use ChatGPT, Gemini, Bard, Claude, all of them, that you're giving feedback and it's improving itself based off of your feedback. Look here, dear Sir Madman. All right, so Snobble did respond. Snobble says, I just hear that the AI won't threaten experienced devs, but if AI can help experienced devs write lots more code, the perception of the hiring manager would be, we don't need inexperienced devs. This is a really good opinion that I would love to hear more about. Does anyone have anything to say back about that? I mean, I really, really have a lot to say back about what Snobble just said. A lot of it in agreement with what he's saying. but a lot of it also as a, this isn't doom and gloom, this is a good thing. But this is pure speculation, he says. But the more important thing is the perception of those hiring, not the reality. Exactly. Yes, I agree with this. Not giving my opinions, but I agree with you. Stone Eagle was saying that is one concern. Stay civil in the comments. Oh yeah. Content. What is that? I am, sir, I am very hard to offend. Say and ask what you want, says Stone Eagle. Yeah, it's just that, again, I have the mic. I can speak faster than you can type. I'm probably interrupting your ability to type by constantly talking because you're trying to listen at the same time as type, and it's harder to get all of your thoughts out before I move on to the next thought. So that's why I'm kind of keeping a log of. I'll delete this log, I promise, after chat, but or after the stream. But I'm just trying to keep track of the conversation of the topics that we're having and grouping chats into those conversations. And in fact, you know what? Just so that you can see what it is that I'm doing. Why isn't this detaching? I'm going to put this on screen. Community Day AI topic or something. Okay, bring this over here. That way you know what all I have on here. Okay. Hello, Internet Bird. Welcome in. So today we are having a conversation about AI in the software industry and what your thoughts and opinions are about it, how you feel about it. I want to know if you have any emotional reactions to it too. Like, do you adamantly, and again, without being like attacking anyone in particular, if you have a strong feeling about the use of AI, you are welcome to voice it. The things that I would not like to hear, this is just an example that if you can avoid saying things in this light, which is anyone who uses AI is a blah, blah, blah. Anyone who doesn't use AI is blah, blah, blah. So try to keep the opinions that you do share with us that you have more along the lines of, I think AI is going to do these things to people. It's going to make developers less competent in writing actual software themselves. It's going to decrease the amount of effort that hiring managers put into finding skilled developers. Like these are the topics that have come up so far in recruiting skilled developers. Instead, they want to recruit, or even junior developers. It's going to decrease the chance that junior developers are going to get into a job that are not relying on AI, let's say, and instead they are just doing development work versus just hiring someone who's competent at development and enhanced by AI. So these are topics that were brought up. If you have anything to say along those lines, then please contribute to the conversation. The voice channel is open, but I'm hesitant to really invite people to the voice channel because then I typically start losing track of chat when I'm doing voice to voice with someone. But if you have like a 5 or 10 minute thought that you want to get out, like something that would take you somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, and you want to use your voice, then please feel free to hop into Discord. Just know that let's just limit the time to 5 to 10 minutes per voice channel participant. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep reading through chat. So I left off with Snubble's thing about hiring, and Stony Eagle's thing about the concern being a concern, not just the concern, a concern being that in time, if we continue relying on AI, we will not be as good at coding. So I do have some follow-up questions to that. But again, I do want to catch up in chat because I do see some other ideas brought up. So Tech Workbench said, I think humans are that way with forgetting what they don't use. A newcomer won't be able to perform a task just reading a book, watching a video, or a senior that keeps delegating tasks to AI or other tools. Okay. This last statement here, where are you? Is this a detriment? I can't spell detriment. I don't know why I'm trying. Is this a detriment to the software development industry? Or just a different approach to doing software development? And again, like, I'm not trying to push my agenda. I really want to ask you these questions and what your thoughts are. Maybe you, my bot just crashed. Not my bot, the LLM for the bot just crashed. Or just a different approach to doing software development. So this is one of the obvious directions to go. I'm being very stereotypical with this topic, but it is something that I don't think is explored in a genuine way. So we'll talk about that too if we have time, if that's where the conversation leads. Not hiring juniors means that they won't become seniors, so we end up without senior devs. Then what? Right. Yeah, man, you guys are... These are all of the types of things that I want to talk about. So not this. All right, and then Internet Bird came in, said hello, and has some thoughts here in a little bit. So Tech Workbench is saying, think about code interview and daily tasks as a software engineer. Okay, continue. I think I ran out of tokens with Tech Workbench because it just kind of stopped there. Continue. Stony Eagle says, I'm used to my chats being archived on YouTube. You won't see my type, or see me type something I won't say in your face. Cool. Very cool. All right. That computer is back up. I'm going to read Internet Bird's comment next, but let me get the LLM connected again. So what happened is that computer actually just restarted, the one that's running the LLM. Open terminal. Okay, back to chat. So Internet Bird says, I use Copilot on a daily basis in my daily work. I think that it's really a game changer. I think that it will have an effect on the software job market, but not really sure how. Okay. Can you expand on how you feel telling people that you use Copilot? Does it even bother you at all? Do you feel weird? Do you feel there's a stigma around using AI to do you're getting paid to do this work? Are you asking me? Because I can tell you that. Actually, I can respond to that without giving my opinion. At the top of the conversation, when I was introing this topic, I told the story of starting to use Claude just to test it out. It impressed me. I started to use it on my work product. And I'm running with it now. I'm doing a portion of my work product that would have probably taken me another 3 months. And we are 1 day in, and it's already refactored essentially my whole project, the approach. I just need to find out if it is tenable to integrate into my existing usage of that library. So the answer is yes, I do use it in my, and of course I've been using Copilot since it came out. And I don't feel weird using Copilot, which is also weird. And the reason that I don't feel weird using Copilot is because as I'm typing the code, I am thinking of what code I want written, and it's usually the code that it produces for me. So I am still doing the thought process of this is what I want to do next with the code. This is what I think should happen next. And then reviewing the code that is produced by the AI and being like, this is the way that I would have done it. Or this is a cool way to do it that I probably would have found if I Googled. Enough of me. Back to you. So then Stony Eagle says, the only strong emotion I have is hate and annoyance. I really don't like all the drama and people saying it's going to take all the jobs. It's too doom and gloom. Without good programmers, there is no good AI. Push your agenda if you don't. It's a complaint wall and not a conversation. But I'm also trying to keep the door open for anyone who doesn't share my opinion so that they don't feel like they're just going to be attacked because I have a differing opinion and I'm controlling the conversation. I want you to feel like you can contribute whatever you feel about it. But yeah, I like the statement about everything is just turned into doom and gloom surrounding AI. So do you think that there would be a different way of thinking about AI that could change mindsets? That could be acceptable to more developers, more people in the industry. That isn't just doom and gloom. Snubble is saying, at work there is a stigma not to use AI. Interesting. I do want to know more about that. Like, are you saying at work in general or your specific workplace? Because again, that's also something that it's just like whenever there is any kind of social expectation surrounding a thing, my thought is there a way to ease that and help whatever the thing is be less or more acceptable? What did I have in my clipboard? Oh, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get the LLM reloaded. So you, who is this? TechWork, you still have 2 shots. Although, is it possible that it crashed? No, it didn't crash. And if you want, actually you have all 3 shots. You started the archery and all you have to do is type !shoot or !shoot or !pew. And then the first number will be the angle. The second number will be the magnitude. Angle between -90 and 90. Magnitude between 0 and 100. Okay. So then Internet Bird is saying, I feel that it gives me some kind of superpower and makes me much more productive. That is awesome that you can feel that way. Can I encourage you to continue feeling that way? I don't feel guilt because I still need my own dev skills to understand and evaluate the suggestions of Copilot. So that is also. If anyone has any responses to this comment, again, in a thoughtful, mindful way, not attacking Internet Bird for having this or not. Yeah, just sharing your own opinion on this thought. I don't feel guilt because I still need my dev skills to understand and evaluate suggestions of Copilot. Tech Workbench says, my scare with Copilot is the fact when I write password to environment files, it rewrites if I delete or create another variable. Huh. So it's still using the context of your code space on your local machine to... Interesting. to guess what you're trying to write there, and it ends up being the password that you just added to an environment file. I have never had that happen. So I use secrets, and I guess those aren't really part of the project, are they? Interesting. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know that that happens. Whoa. So you'll learn how to game the archery thing. No. Why are you still on the screen? Oh, there it goes. That was crazy. Congratulations, Tech Workbench. Cool. So where are we at? What do you think about Code Vibe for software engineering? What is Code Vibe? Can you explain that? Snobble is saying my workplace management is pushing real hard for AI and people constantly badger me about this. Okay, so this is another adjacent topic as well, I think, maybe. When you say for AI, are you saying for your developers to use AI, or are you saying that they want AI integrated into whatever systems you're working on for them as a consumer product? That is also a consideration that deals with AI and software development, but the one that I'm really asking about is the essentially surrounding the stigma of my perceived stigma, I guess, of using AI as a software developer to do software development work. Stony Eagle feels the same about AI as Internet Bird. Well, that's an easy response then, because the answer is I agree with this. And Snobble says, but if you pay for Copilot, you can make it not look at certain files, or so they say. Yeah, it's like, that's the other thing. You're using a third-party service to do your code generation and stuff, and you don't necessarily have control over the way that it uses the code that you write. So that is another topic. That one goes along with this adjacent topic with nothing is private on the internet, and also you use AI, you are agreeing to the terms and services of that AI. Make sure you read those kind of thing. That's still semi-adjacent because it's not directly your feelings on the use of AI. How do you use it? How do you perceive others viewing you because you use it, if you use it? How do you perceive others who use it? Except when you go into that, just be mindful of how you present your opinions. That's all. Okay. Tech Workbench says, basically you talk to the LLM to produce code, and mostly the AI does the work. You are the code reviewer and debugger. Since you're asking me directly, I will tell you how I feel about that. That is the experience I had all day starting Wednesday after the stream, because of that monologue essentially that I went on. I added an extra hour and a half to my workday. So what I ended up doing instead of my normal music hobby is experimenting with Claude. That's when I decided I'm going to feed it the data import utility, the place that I'm stuck on. I've went through about 4 different iterations of the conditional transformation thing, and I'm like, I could use a little bit more contextual guidance. And instead what I ended up doing was, I'm going the entirely wrong direction with this. I need to revamp the way that I'm doing everything in order for this conditional operation to work the way that I'm thinking it's going to work. So I said, hey, Claude, how can I improve this? How can we restructure this? Come up with a plan for how to do it. Then we had a planning meeting. Essentially, these are the types of meetings that would last a week, 2 weeks. So I had a planning meeting with Claude, back and forth. Let's make this thing the best that we can make it. Then let's come up with an implementation plan. Let's start doing the implementation. And this is where I used, I'm already starting to learn how Claude responds. So you use stuff like, let us take one step, specifically this step, do the code work for this, and wait for my response. Otherwise, it's going to generate all the files, fill up your context, and you're already out of room in that conversation. You're out of tokens for the day. And yeah, you got to wait until the next day. But to answer your question directly, I like this flow. I really, really enjoyed the process of talking to Claude and saying, here is the type of application that I want. Here's where I am at currently. How can I transform this? Be my architect, be my planner, write some code for me, because I don't know that pattern. I'm going to learn it now that you're writing the code for me. I don't know if you've ever used Claude, Snubble. It has, oh gosh, am I brave enough to log into this thing on stream? I don't know that I'm brave enough to log into Claude. Okay, so Claude is what you use most of the time. So then you know that Claude has one extended mode, which it uses artifacts to put the code blocks in, and code files and stuff for future reference. You can put those in projects. 2, it has a mode called concise mode. Okay, here we go. Scary. So it has concise mode, and this truly is concise. The only thing that I have seen it do repeatedly is I will tell it to take this step by step, and it does take it step by step within the same chat session itself. So, man. Okay, I'm gonna show this. I am kind of promoting Claude without meaning to, but I'm just trying to show the way that I use it. In the instructions, I tell it that it is an expert in all the fields. It's a full stack developer that can do everything. Then I tell it to read this project log at the start of each new session and make a copy and keep it up to date. Then I say, here's some extra instructions for how you're supposed to write code. Write as little code as you can. Prefer to tell me how to add the code. If you're writing if statements, always use curly braces just because that's my preference. Then when I have the conversation, it updates this log file. Hello, Thindle. So it updates this log file and keeps track of what we talked about, kind of a quick summary, so that at the start of every conversation, it reads this, it knows where we're at, what we're going to do next. So I found this to be really, really helpful during the session so that I don't have to type a large blurb at the start of the session. And you can see how many sessions we've had just for this data utility restructure. Ooh, I'm showing this on stream. So this is what I'm talking about, though. This is what I want to know from you. What are your immediate thoughts and feelings seeing someone using AI to create an entire library? Not only a library that they plan on releasing as a NuGet package, as an open source project on GitHub. What are your thoughts on it? Because that's what spurred me to want to talk about this conversation. I know how I feel about myself doing it, which is a mixed bag of I'm judging myself, thinking that other people are going to judge me in a negative way, in a harsh way, and discredit me and be like, you're not a software developer. You're just someone that uses AI to do everything. But I also am like, I'm reviewing all of this code. I'm fixing stuff. When they give me files, I'm creating it in my own project. I'm updating them. I am understanding the code that's being written. So I'm torn, is what the deal is. I am very torn with using this tool and continuing to use it. So my thoughts are shrug. Shrugs. Okay. So yes, I still want to hear from you. That's the end of my response. I will not give any more opinions. Oh, does it cause skill issues in your opinion? So you really do actually want me to voice my responses to these. Let me read Stony Eagle's statement first. He said, the experience I had so far is that it starts out great with the first few replies, edits, but it slowly starts to get worse and worse. It gets to a point where it starts to forget specific changes I asked it to make and results in getting back to where it began with. So again, if you're using Claude, are you using projects? If you're using ChatGPT, Gemini, and Bard, I've tried all three of those for doing code work and found that that is absolutely the case. With Claude, there are these projects. This is the entire solution. Like, you can tell that these are all in different projects by the namespaces, and it's smart enough to figure that out. But that's the other thing that I tell it to do. I said, not only are you going to keep a log of what we've done last and where we're going next, but you are also going to keep a log of the current project structure. Huh. Which is not there anymore. Here. Okay, so now that is in the project itself. And you can see that here. So this is essentially the file system for it. Here's the project structure, and here are all of the files. They're namespaced accordingly, so you know where all of these files belong in the project structure. You know how the projects are related to each other because you also have the architecture specification that I reviewed. And again, we went over multiple sessions to review this document and get it to be what I want it to be as the original designer. It's more like you said, I am more of a product owner that says, here's what I want. And I'm talking with the developer, the architect, the UI designer, even though there's no UI yet. And you can see all of these sessions for improving the library. And then here, so like the context for these is pretty big. And you can see that 3 messages later is the final review. Dang it. Is the final review of the actual plan. This would be like a 2-week project planning session in the span of 4 hours, is this? But so far I have not asked it to direct a full implementation of something big. Most of what I asked are specific functions. So again, at the beginning of this project was literally, why are you two reversed? Was literally help me to complete the implementation of the conditional rule or conditional transformation and UI updates. And it did. It really did. But when I got to the point of having had implemented all of these changes that it recommended, I saw there was a flaw in the way that I am doing things. So if you remember, the data import utility is the thing where you drag and drop a CSV, you configure which field from that CSV maps to your C# class. And I wanted to have that conditional rule. In that mapping editor, I'm keeping the original field and using that the whole way down when the conditional evaluations can be on different fields within that same mapping. So anyway, I saw that flaw. I was able to identify it and be like, well, let's come up with a plan to improve it. And that started off with, here's the source files. I need your help to improve the functionality of the core library. And then it even considered, do you want to make sure that it's backwards compatible? Here's the implementation strategy. And then I'm like, I don't need it to be backwards compatible. But it did tell me what all of these things are when it's telling me what it's trying to set up. So I really appreciated that. And being who I am, I'm not just going to take it blindly. I'm going to have a conversation with it until I understand what it's doing. And we come up with a plan together, and I am co-creative in the process, not just letting it do all the work. I went off on my tangent. So I guess that was to reply to Tech Workbench. Does it cause skill issues in your opinion? I don't want to go too far down my opinion in that because I do have strong opinions about it. I think that if you have the discernment as a developer to know what your skills are, how do I want to word this? That you will have the integrity to use AI in a productive way. That said, I think that the software development landscape is changing. The way that we write code is changing. Mind you, this is still irrespective of the ethics behind AI and how it's trained. Let's keep that out of the conversation for now. It does belong in the conversation, but for now. Let's do this. Let's work on the premise that AI was properly introduced from the beginning. There were only opt-in people, opt-in code bases that it was trained on. There were people hand reviewing, like professionals reviewing the code that the application was trained on. So let's say in the perfect world where AI was introduced correctly, and it has all of the same capabilities that it does now. Let's say that all of that happened, and that's where we are now. I think that it is a good thing. I think that we as software developers who love to write code, many of us do, are having a paradigm shift for what it means to be a software developer. My experience with Claude over the past week has been that it is just as enjoyable to talk through a project with an AI that is generating code, updating it on my machine, reading through the code, making edits, fixing things it got wrong, re-uploading it to the project, telling it to review that, come up with the next plan. It's been a blast. It's been really fun. But I can't help but feel that there is a negative stigma in the community towards using AI that way. And it's just my own projection. And I'm trying to assuage that by talking with you about it and being open about it. I still plan on doing a lot of the work that I do for the company that I'm working for myself, writing my own code. But I want to be okay with using AI as a tool to help me through that. That said, let's say that you are brand new to software development and your intentions are, I hear that you can just tell an AI to write code for you and you don't have to know a thing. So I am going to use AI to write code for me so that I can do as little work as possible and make a whole bunch of money just like all of the other software developers. Then I think that there are other issues at play in that scenario. But AI is enabling that scenario to begin with. Again, let's just assume AI was created ethically and trained ethically. We still have that issue. We still have people who will want to utilize it in such a way that they're just making a quick buck. So my opinion is that the reason that we software developers have a problem with that is because most of us worked our butts off to get the knowledge that we have to be able to write code. And this other person who spent no effort is now able to perform at our level or better, maybe less, but or better, and get paid the same amount of us as us. And I want that to spur more conversation. So if anyone has opinions on that, please, please, please share your opinions. Don't let me monologue this yet again. um, that said, the software developers that can write code coming into the industry will not have the same knowledge as someone who has already been in the industry pre-AI or towards the beginning of AI becoming a thing that you can't trust. You have to validate everything that it does. So writing code is going away. Talking with an AI agent to produce an application seems to be on the rise. Okay, we have a response. I think the negative mentality towards mostly AI comes from the copyright violations, lack of credits, laziness of not. Okay, so that is something we will discuss then. I don't want to have that discussion today, but next Friday we can go into that part of it. I need to do some research if I want to at least help steer the conversation. That way we aren't only expressing opinions, because when it comes to that, there are truths about how AI has gotten its content. There are truths, like things that you can research about how AI is used, what the current laws are, people that have been directly affected by it. Yeah. So I agree with that statement still. Yeah, I think the negative mentality towards AI comes from the copyright violations, lack of credits, laziness of not really learning to understand code, and easy money grab mentality. Yeah. And the reason that I want to put that off is because my feeling about that, and I'm going to voice it now, is that it stems from a larger issue. It's not just AI. I think our money system across the world just needs to be revamped. Yeah, and I have an analogy for it, but I'll save that. But an AI that is trained on paid and validated code would not be a bad idea. Like the whole going forward with AI thing that I have would be cool if I was someone that was more motivated to actually take the steps needed to try to get it implemented, which is pick a certain point in time when a law is enacted to say AI can no longer be trained on anything. Any kind of AI can no longer be trained on anything unless the source has explicitly granted the rights to do that. AI before that, AI trained on stuff before that, can't do anything about. Using the internet is not a blanket, I give AI permission to train on anything that I've posted to the internet. So being very clear about that, establishing laws surrounding that. And then the question is, how can you verify that? What types of things do you put in place to make sure that it doesn't happen? So then TechWorks says, here's a question. At this time, AI LLM costs billions. What is the actual cost for you and everyone else? I am benefiting from it. This is where it's really, really, really difficult for me. I have this contract with my client, and I'm allowed to get the work done however I get the work done. I'm the only one they were going to hire. I'm not keeping anyone else from getting hired by this company. I'm just, I'm the only one that they wanted to hire and keep working on these projects and supporting the applications. So I'm not costing anyone any jobs as far as at my workplace. I'm getting paid the same amount. Actually, I'm getting paid less still than the average of senior application developers in the area, but I am getting paid more reasonably now. And my entire purpose and goal behind doing software development is to enhance life through automation. Make things easier for the end user, make them enjoy what they do for on a daily basis to make a living. And this is making it so that I can do that more accurately, more completely, especially with my lacking UI skills. So now then the question is, am I robbing anyone from making money as a UI designer? Because I could go and hire someone to do the UI design on the applications. I'm in the automation business. And the answer is still no, because what I have shown up until this point even is that the end user is able to use the applications. They are happy enough with the UI. It does all the things that they want it to do. I don't need to make any updates to the UI. However, if I now have something I can offload it to, and I have the opportunity to make improvements to the UI design, I will choose to do that. Because otherwise, people are involved, which is a very hard no for me. So another thing, I'm going to read Snappo's comment first because yours looks semi-involved tech work. Another thing I noticed is AI is less useful when I ask about Swedish things than US things. So most AI is trained on English speaking content, which makes it less useful for me. All right. Stony Eagle said, but an AI is trained on, this one. But I am also strongly opinionated towards big companies relying on free and open source code without giving back when they have the resources to do so. Yeah, so we already have a mechanism in place where other developers' free open source software is being used by large industries, large corporations, or small corporations without any kind of compensation for it. That one I can kind of say is opt-in. Like, if you're making something free open source, that's the opt-in for it. But at the same time, companies could take it upon themselves to thank and show their appreciation in whatever way they deem appropriate, which they typically don't. Tech Workbench says, I think more like actual cost. Like Uber had to lower prices until everyone was used to as it was subsidized. Now the prices are much higher. Would it be doable if you have to pay something like Devon AI for $500 a month? Right. Okay. So you were riffing off of the comment about how hosting an LLM costs a lot of money. Doing any kind of AI work costs a lot of money, running on servers that use a lot of power. The negative consequences to the environment from using so much power, those kinds of things. They are important, but this one specifically, I think, is very relevant to our conversation. So the cost of things has not affected me much. I don't go anywhere. I don't like the place that we went last was a mountain drive 3 hours away, 2 hours away, and went to a campground, hung out in nature for a while, came back home. That was the first time I had been out in 2 months now, 3 months. I mean, I guess I walked to the mailbox. My water delivery service, the prices have not gone up. The The only thing that the price is increasing for at a steady rate are the streaming services and my uh, business accounting software that I pay a subscription for, which subscriptions are just stupid. Hang it. But it's okay. It's okay. That's another one. Um, is there grass on your way to the mailbox? Other people's grass, yeah. There's a sidewalk and other people's lawns. We have one of those communal mailbox systems where like 20 or so houses all have their mailbox in the same area. Um, all right. And then Snubble is saying some companies do talk about compensation, but it gets complicated. How should the money be distributed? I think I can get the company I work for to put money on the table, but then how do we distribute it? Personally, I would like if the package manager could accept money from us and a SBOM. I don't know what SBOM is. Small business owner manager. Yeah, lucky mail. And they still get it wrong. And then distribute the money fairly. That would be cool. Software bill of materials. That would be cool if that would be cool if they didn't charge a fee for that service, because now we're talking about adding more fees for something that would just be nice if. And we start going into the issue that I would eventually want to address with just the financial system of the world, which is, I'm hoping, going to be changing soon for the better. Oh man, gosh, you guys had some great thoughts, topics. Thank you so much for all of it. Just to prove to you, I am deleting. I am typing the letter F and copying it to my clipboard so that you can see that I am deleting F. Closing that, and the file itself. Oops. The file itself. Well, I'm gonna go to Dropbox first. What is this in? Where is this? Betukudi business stuff. Live stream. Community Day AI topic. Okay, so here's the Community Day AI topic. The thing that's still in my clipboard is the letter F. And it is deleted. Okay, I'm not keeping any of the stuff. It'll be on the stream if I want to reference it later, but just showing you that I'm not keeping your thoughts. How about clipboard history? Windows Shift P? No. I forget what Windows Shift V, obviously. It's got to be. Okay, is it safe? Is one of these buttons clear? Oh gosh. Oh, just regular Windows V. I pushed Windows Shift V. Still opened. Yeah. See, this is like, I know you're joking, Twitch Williams, but this is the kind of judgment that like I feel is secretly held by people. Like they honestly feel that this is how it's going to be. And then that just discredits me. Yeah. Which is kind of hard because my whole life is worked around being good, doing the right thing for the right reasons, all that stuff. So that was the main reason for I guess that was the main reason that spurred today's conversation. Hello Magnavio. That was Community Day. That was an hour of conversation on AI in software development. Next week, I'm going, like, I don't really, I don't like doing stuff outside of the stream for the stream, because I still have a lot of work to do and I have a lot of Man, you're a little late, Magnivio. We can, let me, oh, is it okay if I keep that question for next time? The next time that you're around? I mean, I can generalize my response to that. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And of course, a complication that some licenses have patent termination clauses, which can make it sensitive to contribute if the company invested lot in patterns. Yeah. But we did have a pretty good conversation around that. So I'm going to go to this screen. No, I'm going to go to this screen so that you know that we're about to end. But I'm going to respond to Magnivio. What is the model AI? And I'm assuming you mean what is the ideal for AI and how it should be used, how it should have been done. It's a great question. I would want to know your opinions first. But if you want to hear it's going to be a quick response and it's going to be pretty surface level. But we did say it earlier, it is AI where the only training data it uses is opted in. So if it's a image generator, then only images that were submitted to be used for the AI training. Properly documented and credited, this AI was trained on this compendium of images and stuff. It is one where the content that it gets trained on has been reviewed by humans, and it is one that is constantly able to be improved in such a way that if we get more stuff that is opted in to be trained on it, it's not you are using this model, we're allowed to train on your data because you're using it. It is, do you opt in to providing feedback and allowing your sessions to be used to improve the model? As opposed to, if you're using this, you opt into having it done. No, 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 no. So those are the primary things. Um, ethically sourced, just like food, just like other analogies that I could use. Ethically sourced, trained, and integrity was used for it. There is no hidden, we're just trying to make money. There is no hidden, yeah, anything else. Okay, Stone Eagle said, since you're ending, I'm going to pay my designer a visit. I don't know if you have a raid target planned. I don't, but we can definitely target your designer. Is it AAOA? That's going to be my guess. Aha. I hadn't been rating him lately because I haven't seen him doing well. Every time that I checked, he wasn't working in Figma. He was doing something non-design related. Today, though, he is definitely working in Figma or just some design tool, doing some amazing things. Easily sidetracked. So we will definitely target AAOA for the raid. His stream is marked as intended for mature audiences, probably because of language. It's not a big deal. But yes, we will definitely head there. Next week, I'm going to try my best to make some time between now and then to do some research on ethical AI, the implications behind AI, how AI was trained, some arguments for and against the way that it's used and trained. But I would like for you to just be able to give your opinions as well surrounding those topics. The way that you feel about how AI is used on a more broad level than just software development. How do you feel about how AI was trained? How do you feel about people who use it? But again, I'm very hesitant to go down that route because I don't want anyone to feel like they are doing a bad thing. I just want to discuss concepts. You know? Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, that's going to be it though. I will be back again on Monday. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thank you for the conversations. You guys did so much more than I could have expected. Thank you. Thank you for all of the contributions. I will start the raid to AAOA. Wait, his stream isn't marked as for mature audiences? Oh, it's intended for certain audiences, not mature audiences. So the raid call or the raid didn't even say intended for mature audience. Yeah. And I do, yeah, it was mostly I don't want to make you who chose to be here feel like you've been wasting your time this entire time because now I am using AI for some of my workflows. And yeah, I don't want to alienate people. And not because I'm trying to keep viewers, but because I truly do care about how you feel and how I am impacting you. Okay, but that's it for me for now. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will head over to AAOA and enjoy his stream. If you want to see the VOD, it will be on YouTube pretty much after I stop the stream, however long it takes for it to process and upload. Or, you know what I mean. I'm already streaming to YouTube simultaneously, so I think it's available immediately after. And then also the VOD on Twitch should be available. Okay, ciao.